Welcome back to On Football. I have another review for you guys today. Today's video is going to be on the Vapor Ultimate Cleats. You guys saw the unboxing a couple weeks ago, and now I have the review. So some of the things I'm going to be going over are, first of all, how these differ from the Vapor Carbon Elite 2014s. You know that they look similar. Here's the colorway that I picked up. They look pretty similar to these cleats, just in the overall shape of it. Obviously, you know that the cleat plate at the bottom, the traction is identical. So I'm going to go over some of the differences there and then cover off on the usual, right? Talking about the weight, the traction, the ventilation, the fit, and just the overall durability of the cleat. So without further ado, let's get into the review. You guys know how much I love when my cleats come with bags, so these cleats are no different. Just like the Vapor Carbon Elite 2014s, these come with a bag. It's a little different, so they say VPR for Vapor on it. It's something that's also on the cleat. So let's talk about some of the technology in the cleat and what makes it, or supposedly makes it, such a great cleat. First of all, this is the first football cleat with the Fly Knit from Nike. And obviously you guys know the Fly Knit, you know, like running shoes, so it's supposed to be kind of like a sock. What they did in the football cleat to make it more durable and stable is you actually have this, what they call Nike skin, and it's an overlay that goes over the Fly Knit. It's kind of like a hyperfused material, but it makes it really sturdy. You know, the shoe is structured, and it doesn't bend or crease similar to some of the other cleats. It also has fly wire with the laces to give that dynamic fit. The other differences are just the material of this Nike skin. I think in the future that's going to allow for an unlimited number of designs on the cleats. So they started with some basic colorways. You've got this platinum color with the Volt Nike sign. Then you've also got a Volt colorway. You've got a royal blue, and you've got a bright crimson red. Because the plate is the same as the Vapor Carbon Elites, it actually got the same exact rating. Gave it a 9 out of 10. So it has new technology in it. You know, it's got the same stud type blades over all the cleats. You can see here are different blades. They're a lot thinner, so they can dig into the turf a lot more. Then when you get towards the edges, you have the studs combined with blades. And that's something new for 2014, the new Vapor traction pattern, they call it. And then at the back, you've got 3 studs, of course, with the blades as well. One thing I thought was really interesting is I expected Fly Knit cleats to be super lightweight. That was something that I was looking forward to. I thought, could they even be lighter than the Vapor Carbon Elite 2014s? And I haven't really put them on the scale, but when I put them in my hand, when I wore them on my feet, they actually felt just a tad heavier. If you go to the websites and you look at the rating of the weight, you can actually see that the quantity that they put up is a little bit heavier. I don't think this makes any difference in your cleats, so I wouldn't, you know, weigh in on, oh, these are a little bit heavier, so I'm not going to get them. But just know that it's not as light as the Adizeros, like nowhere near as light as the Adizeros. Those are going to be the lightest cleats on the market, and a little bit heavier than the Vapor Carbon Elites. One thing that I was kind of disappointed in with this cleat was the overall fit. The toe box was perfect, so it had 0 space. I did have to go a half size down, same thing with the Vapor Carbon Elites, but it hugged my toe, so the toe box was perfect. It was breathable, it was nice, it was sturdy, it shimmered in the light, I loved it. But when we got to the heel, you know, I do have thinner ankles than maybe a lot of people, but in the heel, I didn't actually have the heel lock that I wanted. So my heel kept slipping out. If you remember my review on the Adizero 5 stars 2.0, it was the same problem. And one thing that I would like is if they had another eyelet, just one more, to pull that heel back into the counter, it would make these shoes a lot more stable for me. You can see on the Adizero 3.0s, that's something that they modified from the previous version. So no doubt I expect Nike in the next version of these to add that eyelet to just hug your foot a little bit more. If you have thicker ankles, maybe you won't have that problem, or if you have a wider foot, maybe you won't have that problem, but that's something that, you know, it slowed me down, honestly, and so I gave this shoe an overall 7 out of 10 in terms of fit. This being a Fly Knit cleat, the ventilation was actually pretty good. Again, Fly Knit is going to be this fabric, so it's actually breathable all through the shoe, everywhere where you see this kind of Fly Knit material where you don't have the skin. The whole tongue is breathable there. where you don't have this Nike skin. So the breathability, I gave it 1 point higher than the Vapor Carbons with an 8 out of 10. Here's where cushioning was a little different, again, than the Vapor Carbons. Even though the traction plate is the same, the heel of the shoe actually sits a little higher off the ground than the Vapor Carbons. That's something that I noticed. So you do have a little bit thicker cushioning in the heel than the Vapor Carbons. I still gave it the same rating, a 9 out of 10, but it felt good because I felt like I had a little bit more arch support. So just know that with this shoe, it's not going to be as low profile in the heel, which depending on you might be a good thing. I didn't mind it. I really like low profile shoes, but as long as that toe is nice and low, I'm going to get that feel that I want, and I wouldn't mind the additional cushioning in the back. So I gave this a 9 out of 10 in regards to cushioning. The durability on these is pretty much the same as the Vapor Carbon Elite, so I don't think there's going to be a lot of creases, which is something that you didn't find in the Vapor Carbons, but I do think they're going to last. So it talks about the chrome chipping off, and I really think that's if you play on grass. These cleats can be used on turf, and they can be used on short, firm ground, so that would be short, firm grass. If you have longer grass or wet grass, I don't know how well these are going to do. You might want a detachable cleat. But other than that, I gave these a 9 out of 10 for durability. Last thing you guys probably want to know is the price and where to get them. So you can get these in a variety of places. These are directly from Nike. You can find them on other sports stores on the websites. You kind of see how they shine. I kind of like that. But anyway, the price, that's something that hurt a lot. These were $250, and I'm not sure if they're going to come down. All 4 colors are the same price. A lot of you guys have asked me when you saw me post on Instagram, is it worth the $250? Hardly ever will I tell you something or recommend something is worth it or not, because that really depends up to you. But I'm not sure if these are too much different besides the overall look, because these do look raw as hell, than the Vapor Carbon Elite 2014s to say that I would get another pair of these. So I already have 3 pairs of Vapor Carbons. I'm probably going to stick with those. But these are nonetheless $250 for the pair, but you will be the flyest person on the field. And at night, these have a totally different look. Like, they light up and sparkle under the lights. So stay tuned after the review. I'm going to have a few photos of these cleats so you can see them. Check out my Instagram. I have photos on there. And definitely check out the rest of my cleats. I'm going to put a link over here that you can click on. Check out my cleat playlist. If you like my video, remember to give me a thumbs up, share, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.